So lads, today we're going to be talking about something, and it is Kevin Garnett talking about the Indiana Fever. KG talking about the Fever. And look, I think the Fever have more problems than them being soft. I think they have more problems than that. But at the end of the day, it's a weird one because as much as people don't want to admit it, this Fever team is no better than last year's Fever team. We can be honest. On the court, they are no better than last year's Fever team. The big difference is that there was no expectations last year. They're no worse, but there were expectations this year, no expectations last year. But anyway, let's take a listen to what Kevin Garnett is saying about the Fever and Sun game.
It's big to not only support teammates, but to show. You know, like, even in my Minnesota days, man, I've always taken a loyalty to all the players that's on the team. And, yeah, man, it helps confidence, it helps continuity, you know. And then, too, for that to be your best player, you gotta protect the best player.
I mean, if we're being honest, it's been 2 years. Caitlin's been punched in the neck. She got cheap shotted by Kennedy Carter, and everyone stood around staring at Kennedy Carter. We've seen a lot of things. We've seen a lot of situations, and at least Lexi got in JC Sheldon's face. But like, I'm gonna be honest. I was the only player I was a bit disappointed in was at the same time the logic of we don't want to get teed up, but at the same time, I wish Sophie Cunningham was on the floor or Dwana Bonner was on the floor, and they would have just taken the ejection at that time. It was just taking the ejection. And honestly, I'm not joking when I say this. If Sophie Cunningham was on the floor and started a brawl with Marina Mabry, Cunningham and Mabry get ejected and everyone moves on. Like, this whole thing doesn't happen. We all move on and this conversation doesn't happen. But like, Caitlin Clark, let's be real. Caitlin Clark flagrantly fouled Angel Reese in the first game. Like, as much as we want to say it, she put a bit extra on that take foul. It was a flagrant foul by every definition of the word. Nothing more than that. Not a flagrant 2. It's a flagrant 1. It's never going to hurt Angel. It's one of those things that is like, you make sure someone feels it. And it was a get back for Natasha Howard getting shoved by Angel Reese right before that. But it's, I mean, the same player in the same situation, the opposite way, and Caitlin got blindsided and nothing.
And I wanted to, especially when I got to Boston, man, I wanted to make sure that all of the bigs, because usually the bigs are the ones that enforce picks, hard fouls, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like this. But not just the bigs, but I wanted all of us to be on the same page as far as how we protect each other out here, you know? And then we was always conscious of matchups to when we played the Heat or when we played certain teams to where certain guys had, you know, different complex with Ray, you know, and I think you got to be like that, man. When you got a girl like Caitlin on your team and you got a star on your team like Luka or Bron, yeah, some hitters on that team that'll go hard for the main player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And let's be real, like, it's not like LeBron when he was in Miami. It's not like that Miami team were soft. You had UD, you had Udonis Haslem. He brought, at the start with him in Cleveland, he brought Sean Marion over with him. And like, let's be real, I'm not going to say they're enforcers, but like, J.R. Smith is liable to do anything on the basketball court. He's liable to do anything. And it wasn't like that team were soft by any means. Timofey Mozgov, 7-foot tall Russian, like, then he goes to LA when he wins the ring. They had Dwight. They had like tough players like Jared Dudley on the bench. Like, they were tough. They were a vet team. Heck, LeBron was a vet himself. Like, as much as I know people like to mess with LeBron is still 6'9", closer to 300 pounds than he is at his listed 260, and a freight train.
As it should, but I think the physical element is just part of the game, man. And I don't know why we keep trying to discount it. But, you know, basketball is a physical sport, and that physicality actually comes into play, into how you play, you getting stronger, you know what I'm saying? Of us playing defense on you ain't nothing but you being stronger, being able to be in a distress, you know, situation and then deal with it, you know what I'm saying? So Yeah,
You gotta
I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm going on some shit like that continuity. You gotta have that, and you gotta be together because teams see when you don't go to help a guy up, or if P fall and none of us running none of us run to him, or when you see a guy fall and you don't see teammates pick him up or pick her up. That's what your team is. You hear?
And I mean, he's on the money. And like again, I'm not out there accusing. Like we've seen, like the players getting around Caitlin Clark, the support the players have for each other. I'm not accusing these players of like being bad teammates by any means. There's no accusation there of that because I don't think they are. But the problem is that a lot of players are just kind of, when it comes to being, not even being enforcers, but like getting chippy with their teammates, they either are that type of player or they're not. And the problem is that if we go to the Indiana Fever, there's Dewana Bonner and Sophie Cunningham, who I would trust to get in the face of any player. Dantas maybe too, to defend your teammate. And it's not saying that Aaliyah Boston has not defended Caitlin Clark in other ways. It's not saying that Natasha Howard hasn't. But like, even like an Erica Wheeler last year, you better believe would have gotten into that with Marina Mabry. Temi 100% would have. Christy Wallace, I mean, according to her coach, she's a dog, so maybe Christy Wallace could do that, but you just never know. But at the end of the day, look, the Indiana Fever are a team. He's not wrong when he says it, and it's like when you go and try to get at a player and her teammates don't do anything, you look at it, you look at that team, not even that team in a certain way, but you look at that player, you start to think, okay, maybe they can be got. Maybe we can be physical. Because they're not going to be physical back. We can be physical towards her. We can rough her up, but it's not going to happen back to us. And that's why it was so important. I hate that it had to come to Sophie Cunningham. I wish she had just taken her down. I wish it wasn't around the neck, because I still think JC Sheldon would have reacted in the exact same way. I think JC Sheldon would have reacted in the exact same way, even if it wasn't around the neck. I think if JC Sheldon literally leaned down last second, if it was around the chest and she was taken down, and the excuse is that it was justified because it was around the neck. Even if it wasn't around the neck, I think JC Sheldon reacts the exact same way, because earlier on in the game, Sophie Cunningham clocked her off the ball after giving a hand off to Caitlin Clark. And let's not forget, Sophie Cunningham did also throw an elbow at her face. So, like, it is what it is with all this. But, I mean, KG's right. The Indiana Fever they're a team that are soft. And I will say, where people are like, oh, it's going to be obvious that like players don't defend. Not every player is going to get into a brawl every single time. The fact that the Indiana Fever have shown they have one player, and that's all you need. The fact that they've even shown that they have one player that's willing to stand on business means that, yes, they're going to be physical. Yes, they're going to be rough with Caitlin Clark. But no, are they going to go out and cheap shot Caitlin Clark knowing that the next time you were on the floor and Sophie Cunningham is on the floor, you are going to be taken out of it? I think they'll think twice. Whether they'll do it or not, I don't know. But they'll definitely think twice about it.